You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 on Instagram and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold, episode 15. Today we welcome Taylor Grant. How are you, Taylor?
Hi, I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate your time. We featured you April 20th of this past year. And, all stories are special. All stories are unique. Everybody has a different path. That's one of the things of the many things I really like about Lawyer Stories. But, I think yours really resonated with a lot of people. You look at the engagement. To speak like a social media nerd, like if you, if you look at some of the comments and like the engagement, people loved your story, and including myself. So, we want to talk about it a little bit more, and we're really happy that you were able to come on. So thank you very much, Taylor, for being here. So tell us where you're originally from.
Mm-hmm. I am born and raised in Maryland. I'm from Prince George's County, which is 30 minutes outside of Washington, D.C.
Okay, and you're currently in D.C.?
Yes.
All right. So let's start with undergrad. So you went to Howard in DC, right? So tell me about that. What was your experience like there?
Yes, I loved Howard University and still love Howard University. It's funny, when I was applying to college, I wasn't going to apply to any HBCUs, but both my mother and my father went to an HBCU. Wow. My mom went to Howard, and they said, you have to apply to at least one of our alma maters. And so I picked Howard. And it wasn't until I visited the school where my life changed, because I wasn't used to seeing like a group of diverse Black people. Even though we're all Black, we just all came from different experiences, different lifestyles. All of us were like intelligent and like striving to do something great with our lives. It just inspired me. And I think that by going to an HBCU, and specifically Howard, I learned so much about myself and like the woman that I could be and aspired to be. And it really did change my life from the relationships I built there. I joined Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, which is the first Black sorority ever founded. And it was founded on Howard University's campus. So to have that connection to it is special to me. My mom and grandmother are also AKAs.
Yep.
Yeah, and just, it was just a unique experience that I just don't think I would have been able to gotten from anywhere else. And so I'm really blessed that I went there and my parents forced me to apply.
Yeah, so was it not like that growing up, like where you were in the burbs?
It's interesting because Prince George's County is home to the richest African Americans in the nation.
Okay.
And even though that's the case, I went to a pretty diverse, like high school, middle school, elementary school. I competed in dance where it was pretty diverse between Blacks and whites and, Asians. But I don't know, it was a unique experience still, because I don't think I ever had the opportunity to learn more about my history, like Black history. That, and Howard focuses a lot on that. They want you to know where you came from and where you can go. And even though I got a little bit of that from, my parents and my grandparents, I wasn't really getting it in the education system. And I think, and even from like my relationships as well. So I think that's what made it different than from growing up.
Okay, that's great. So that's great they had that opportunity. So you said AKA?
Yes.
Okay, so are you still like really involved with AKA?
Yes.
Okay, because I worked in a housing authority downtown New Haven, and a lot of some of the women were members of two of the traditional Black sororities, and I think AKA was definitely one of them. And it was crazy because everybody was like so involved still. Mm-hmm. I guess after college for me, I was president of my fraternity ZBT back at UMass. back in the day, and we're still friendly and we talk, but it was like some real big camaraderie and a lot of pride with the sorority. So that was really cool to see.
Absolutely. I think it's a lifetime sisterhood, and people who join the sororities, they take it very seriously. And I'm happy that we have it at the graduate level as well, because there's only so much you can do in undergrad, but at the graduate level, you're working with sorors of all ages and all different experiences. You get to just reach a bigger masses, which I'm enjoying.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. So one question I really am interested in is, when was your moment that it hit you like, I want to become a lawyer. This is for me. This is the path I'm taking.
I think it was right before college. I always was interested in the law just from what I saw on television. I'm the first lawyer in my family, so I didn't have that many people to talk to about the legal profession. But, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was cool, but it really wasn't. It was actually my experience in competitive dance that encouraged me to become a lawyer. Okay. So from the age of 3 up until college, until going into college, I competed in ballet, jazz, tap, and my favorite, lyrical. And a lot of my dancer friends, they will graduate high school and they will go off to become professional dancers, artists, actresses. And I would see them, they'll come back home and, share their stories. And, it was the same story. A lot of them didn't know their rights, and they would sign contracts giving their rights away. Right. And then feel so bad about it, down the line, that they didn't protect themselves at first. And so I thought, at first I thought I wanted to be a professional dancer, but then I was like, no, I just love to dance, but I don't want to do it as a career. But how can I blend, my interest in the law and my passion for the arts and for dance and help my friends? Because I don't want this to continue happening. Right. And so that's when I learned that you can do that. You can do exactly that. You can protect artists by using the law. You can do it through contract law. You can do it through intellectual property. You can represent them in litigation. And so I wanted to learn more about how I can do that. And that's why I decided to study legal communications at Howard University. Okay. Which focus on like legal courses and entertainment and communication courses as well.
That's interesting. I was so legal communications. All right. I was legal studies major at UMass, and it's like law and society, and it's weird. Like I always thought I'd end up doing like something law and society, and it's like, wow, I'm doing like this lawyer stories thing. I guess that kind of fits into like what I thought like back in legal studies, and I loved it. Like I loved my professors. They were like super smart. They would just start talking, and you're just sitting there in awe. Like, but that's okay. So that's really cool. So at that point, you were like, I'm going to go to law school. That's my path. I'm going to be a lawyer.
Exactly.
And so we move on to sort of your lawyer story. And when we featured you April 20th, and you really captivated everybody, I think, with the first couple sentences. Like, so you wrote, you started your lawyer story by saying that you were determined, and this was April 20th, 2020, you're determined to stop letting other people's fears and insecurities determine your destiny. So I really want to discuss that because I think that's like so important for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I listen to, sometimes I listen and I follow a guy named Gary V online, and it kind of seems like something he would say, like, stop letting other people like control your destiny. So I really want to hear like what you have to say about that.
Yeah, I'm so happy that my story resonated with a lot of people, because if I can just touch one person, I would be content. So that's another reason why I love your platform. I think telling stories is so powerful and important because you can inspire and encourage and uplift people. But yeah, I would say that I don't regret anything, because I feel like everything that I've gone through has been a lesson that has contributed to who I am as a person now. But there are things that I wish I would have done differently if I didn't allow my own fear and insecurities and other people's fear and insecurities determine my path.
Okay.
So even in law school, I try to do my research. I talk to lawyers because, again, I'm a first generation lawyer, so I didn't really know that much about the application process, about studying for classes while you're in law school. It's all new to me. And so when talking to lawyers, when applying to law schools and when I got into law school, a lot of them were discouraging. And it's because I didn't fit their mold, you know.
And this is talking to lawyers. Like
this is me talking to lawyers, like not regular people. Like these are people who practice the law.
When you were in law school and they're like bursting about, like they're, you know, people, we go to law school and we're like, wow, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to be social justice, and it's like, okay, so go on.
Yeah, like here I am, I had these dreams, like I want to do all these amazing things, and here are these lawyers or people in the career services offices, which you hear from a lot of law students are like, sorry, you can't do that because of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And these are the experts, and I don't know any better, and so I believed them. I thought that, wow, because I didn't go to a top 15 school. I'm at University of Maryland, which is a great school, but it's a state school, you know, it's still tier 1, but it's a state school. I didn't go to a top 15 school. I wasn't in the top 10% of my class, even though I had good grades, but the top 10% is what, you know, big law and a lot of big employers are looking for. And so I said, okay, well, I guess I can't go into big law and like practice corporate law like I wanted to. So let me shift. And even though when I shifted, I got to have great experiences. Like I got to work for Discovery Communications in-house. I ended up interning for a federal judge and then interning for another judge at the highest state appellate level in Maryland. So I ended up getting good experiences, but then I always think like, well, what would be differently if I just tried? Like if I just went for it and not allowed them to determine what was my destiny and decide what was best for me given my track record.
Right.
So that's something that once I realized like, hey, I'm unique. I have gifts and talents that are unique to me and only in that I can give to any employer that will be valuable. Let me just try. And I think that was how I got to where I am now, working for a big law firm like Reed Smith. Because
and this is like your first job, right? Or did you have well, you were talking about clerkships, but that was during law school, and this is your first job out of law school.
No, so I clerked for 1 year, but again, I clerked at the state level. And so a lot of big law lawyers would say, oh, well, you didn't clerk at the federal level, so it doesn't really matter.
Gotcha.
But there I am, state clerkship, going straight into big law right after.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. It is. It's so important, like, not to listen to people sometimes. I mean, they're just one opinion. I mean, they're one opinion. I mean, think about a kid who tries to apply to a school and they get rejected, or think about a law student, a graduated law student who takes the bar and they fail the bar. I mean, I used to think like you could have the bar examiner sitting there, and not saying that they do this, but maybe they're like watching like the Red Sox game or something.
Right.
And like the Red Sox are losing and all of a sudden they don't like your essay and you flunk the bar by 0.4 of a point. You know what I mean? Like, so there are people out there who put their subjective opinions on things, and they're just one person. And like, who are they to like determine like what your skill is and like what you can actually do? Like, we can't let people tell us what our capabilities and what our potentials are.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, I was saying, I like that you said subjective because, you know, a lot of people put their own insecurities onto you. They project their own insecurities onto you because maybe that happened to them. Maybe someone told them that they couldn't do what you wanted to do because they didn't meet their checkbox. And so they're just passing it on. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's subjective. All you need is that one yes. And that's it.
And if it's a boss who's like that or another coworker, you just have to think like, well, I need to be working for somebody who wants me to succeed. If that person doesn't want you to succeed, they're not going to push you forward. They're not going to like tell you that, you know, you have the potential to do this. Like, you need to stay on this line. So good for you for realizing that you could do it. And, you know, you went out of your own way, your own path, and were able to do that and get into a big firm, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're in DC, you're now at a big firm.
Thank you. Yeah, I've just learned that no one's going to advocate better for yourself than you. So, and it's hard. I still, you know, allow fear to get the best of me sometimes, and I have to pump myself up again.
I know it's hard. It's tough. I mean, if you're not pumping yourself up.
Yeah.
People won't believe it. They won't do it for you if they're not somebody that doesn't really know you. They need to see that. So it's difficult for some people, but I do appreciate that message that you gave everybody in your story. We'll have to repeat that sometime on our platform. So, but I'm glad that you are repeating it right now. So you're at a big firm at Reed Smith. I could say the firm because it's in your. Is that what it's called?
Yes, Reed Smith's correct. Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Reed Smith, you're right. That's right.
So tell us about Big Law. Like, is it what you thought it would be? Like, are you working like 500 hours a week, or, are you, like, what's it like?
No, it's not what I thought it was going to be. The only thing that is what like a lot of people told me is the billable hours, which can be stressful, especially while in a pandemic.
Okay.
But I will say I'm glad I'm starting my career at Reed Smith. It's a very unique firm. I feel like I'm finding my tribe there, and I feel like the attorneys there, they really do want to see their associates succeed. And I feel like they're taking the time to train up their associates so they can pass the baton. And that's all I'm really looking for. I'm looking for someone who sees value in me and is willing to take the time to invest in me.
And you graduated in 18.
Mm-hmm.
So you have such an amazing, bright future.
Thank you.
What I'm saying is you're at a big firm and you're saying I feel you're saying all the right things about people investing in you and wanting to learn, and you're going to grow. And you have so many more years to just, be an amazing attorney. So that's great.
Thank you. Yeah, that's how I feel too. I'm so young. I'm like a sponge. Yeah. So I'm trying. I don't try to say no to a lot of things that are asked of me, because I just want to learn. And I feel like because I'm so young in my career, I can always pivot if I find my passion in something else. And I feel like Reed Smith allows that. They welcome that type of growth.
So what are you doing now there? Are you?
I'm practicing litigation. I am in their life sciences and health industry group, so I'm doing healthcare litigation.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow. So that must be interesting right now. Is there anything? Have you seen anything COVID related, or how's your firm managing that? You're working at home, right?
Yes, we're all working at home. I see COVID something every single day.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. And I'm lucky to be in this practice group because we're still relatively busy. So that's helping with the hours.
Oh, that's good. Okay. So you do billables though, you're billing and okay. So do they have a little, this is ridiculous, but do they have a little snack cart, when you're in the office, if you're there past 5 or 6, they knock on your door with a little snack cart, or they drive you home or something? Is that?
No, we don't have a snack cart. We do have a market in the cafe.
Okay, all right.
So you just go down to the market. That's it.
We got to talk to them about having a little snack cart or something. But, all right. Maybe that's just a TV show I saw. All right. So that's great. So congratulations. I'm happy that you've settled in and you're doing your thing there. Sounds like a great firm.
Yes.
So if you could do it all over again, what's the thing you would do differently? I think we sort of touched on it earlier, but
yeah. 2 things. One very specific thing. I probably would have taken the LSAT one more time.
Okay.
Just to boost my score up a little bit, and I wonder if that would have ever made a difference in the schools I would have applied to. But that's a minor detail. But again, kind of what we touched on earlier, I would just try. A lot of times I didn't try because I allowed fear to get in the way. And
do you mean try in law school or in?
Just apply for the position, apply for the firm. A lot of people said I shouldn't even really participate in OCI. I did one OCI interview.
Right.
Because everyone was like, oh, you don't have the grades. Yeah, you're on, and I was on journal, I was on trial team, I was president of BALSA too, and they were like, you don't have the grades, you're at Maryland, it's not top school, I don't think you'll do great in OCI. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to really try. And I that's something I should have not done. I should have at least submitted my application and let them say no and try again, or apply to that scholarship or take on that role and not allow fear get in the way.
Can't, hindsight is 20/20 for all of us. I could list of so many things in law school that I wish, like I probably would have pursued differently. But I don't regret it because, it brought me here, like where I am. And I think all of it was part of my story, as
yes.
Whatever, how that sounds. But, it's too bad. Like I'm 41, like the 40. I know it's hard to believe, Taylor. I know you're like, wow, he's 41, but that myself, like, can't go back and talk to my, my 26-year-old self and be like, hey, this is what you should do. But that's how we grow, I guess. Right. Like, but I think you're thinking about around the right lines, and especially you're super young still. So you're obviously going to make decisions that, that work for you. And if you made a decision at a certain time in your life, maybe that was the right decision at that time. So I guess it's just how to try to look at it. Yep. So if somebody wants a career in big law, or like what you're doing, like follow your similar path, your advice?
I feel like you need to figure out what makes you valuable. Like, what can you contribute to the firm?
Yep.
Because a lot of people are trying to get into big law, whether that's exactly what they want to do or it's for money, which a lot of people apply to big law for. But you need to figure out, like, what can you bring to the firm that no one else can, and what makes you unique and stand out. And I think I did a pretty good job explaining that, like coming from a clerkship and having no health care law, no health related experience, and still being able to land this group, specifically in the litigation group. I felt like I was able to show that these experiences that I've had have what make me unique, in that I can use what I've experienced and what I've gone through to bring to the firm and make the group itself stronger and better.
Okay. Wow. So if you had like 3 people who are the most influential, who would they be?
Yeah, first I would have to say, from a legal perspective, is my mentor. Her name is Lisa Williams-Fontroy. She is the Senior Vice President of Business and Legal Affairs at Discovery Communications. And she inspires me every day. Having the opportunity to work in her department and to see her at work was mind-blowing. She's
really?
She's so smart and elegant, and people respect her. And she's a Black woman, so I really look up to her to see her just being such a boss in her field, and also like having a really good work-life balance too. Like, she has an amazing marriage. She has 2 amazing children whom I love dearly as well, and they're so smart and cool. She just has it all for me.
Okay.
And she inspires me. I would say growing up will be my mother, because she has always been unapologetically herself. And not a lot of people can say that. She's not afraid to like voice her opinion and speak her truth, which I feel like you need as a lawyer. And that inspires me. And she sacrifices so much for the people that she loves. Like, her and my dad did so much to make sure my sister and I had a good upbringing, and that they did whatever they could to provide and support our dreams. And so again, both her and my dad are like the foundation that I stand on. And I hope that.
It's amazing. They must be so proud of you too. Like,
so you know what? They don't get too easily impressed. That's something I laugh about them. I'm like, you guys never like pumped our heads up. Like, you'll always support us and clap for us, and then you're like, all right, moving on. So they never like made us feel like we never had a big head around them, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And then I will say my husband is very influential in my life. I met him going into my senior year in college.
Wow.
And he's another one who I think helped me deal with that fear and insecurity that I was struggling with through his faith, that has helped me with my faith. And he's awesome. If you ever get to meet him, he's super impressive.
That's awesome.
Always been impressive. Like, if I'm just trying to keep up with him, that's going to make me just aspire and to think bigger and dream bigger, because that's what he does.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have him as my partner, because he
great.
inspires me every day.
So you've been together for a little while.
Yes, 2013, married for almost 2 years in November.
Oh, okay. Almost 2 years. All right. I just hit my 2-year anniversary in May.
Oh, congratulations.
So that's cool. All right. Very good. Very good. Congrats. Yeah. So that's awesome. So is there anything else that we're missing that you would want to share with anybody else, people here on Lawyer Stories who happen to be tuning in?
Yeah. Anything else I want to share? I mean, I think it's, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, having like your story and sharing it, I think it's important to share your story, because you just never know who you're going to touch. You just never know like who's going through the exact same situation 100%. That you're going through.
And with Lawyer Stories, it could be somebody around the globe. I mean, you wouldn't believe, I mean, there's so many people from different countries, and you could tell your story, and somebody in like Mexico or like wherever could be like, hey, wow, like I felt that too. And and I think as lawyers, like we're all sort of like sociologists in a way, like we all have like a social view on the world. So I think it's different than another profession. So I really do think it's interesting to share our stories. So yeah, I mean, we definitely appreciate yours, and being able to have you on the podcast is awesome.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I love your platform.
Thank you.
You're right. I got to meet from just the story that you shared of my story. Talk to people from like Africa and Europe, and you know, you don't always have that chance.
I mean, I love it. I mean, it's just it makes me kind of feel like I'm doing something good in the world, honestly.
Yes.
Like not only sharing people's stories, but sharing like everybody's stories. Like I don't know, it's just like the diversity and the geographical diversity and just everything. I love it. Like, obviously, like people who've heard me talk about it on this platform know like how much passion I have about it. And, but you know, I will say it's become work, you know, like I'm keeping up. We have a website now, we have a blog, thelawyerstories.com. Obviously we have the Instagram page @lawyer_story. We have the Facebook page. And we have the podcast. Like I'm hoping the podcast will be like the next big thing. But I really want to build like the biggest networking community and make this like a household name. So slow and steady, you know, it's not overnight, but you know, it takes talented young professionals like yourself to come on and help us out. So like we really appreciate you, Taylor, doing this. How can people get a hold of you if they want to ask you any questions?
Sure, you can follow me on Instagram @Taylor_Grant18. I also have a blog, but it's called poised.co, POISED.co. And actually another thing, one thing that I'm like super passionate about is diversifying the legal profession and expanding gender and ethnic diversity in higher education. So I've recently joined a consulting firm like as a side thing called Ivy Grad Services. So if any like current or prospective students want to learn more about the application process, resume revision, essay drafting, they can follow us at Ivy Grad Services as well on Instagram.
That's great. And with your blog, we have a blog. Like I have a blog that's going, and we're keeping it going, and I get submissions. I'd love to have something that you've pre-written. Like you don't even have to write it for Lawyer Stories, but we could put it up on the page, and it can be there and link to whatever you want. So, but thank you so much for being episode 15. I really enjoyed talking to you. I always like seeing and talking to people that I feature. Because I think it's just, I don't know, it's an incredible thing to just meet people from all different places and walks in life. So keep doing great work. And thanks again for being here. And that will conclude episode 15 of the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourself. Cheers.
The Lawyer Stories podcast is produced by Marketing the Law. Are you looking at your social presence every day? Potential clients are. Learn how to magnetize your brand with the help of Marketing the Law. Find us on Instagram at Marketing the Law to learn more.